Trump voters fell for it again.
We've lost a paper mill here. We've lost a coal burning power plant here, which I used to work at. My dad retired from there. I have an uncle that retired from there. My brother actually worked there at this coal mill, this coal power plant, and it's really made this county struggle a little bit because we've lost so much industry here.
This quiet and proud town has had its ups and downs. It used to have 4 gas stations. Now it's just the one. A long way from the Strait of Hormuz, America is feeling the pinch. The price at the pump isn't just a headline here. It means towing a trailer full of cattle a few miles cost twice what it did 2 months ago. It's the difference between driving to another state for a holiday or staying put to keep costs down.
Donald Trump's war in Iran is costing Americans money every single day, and it's not just in big Democrat-held cities.
Genuinely, I don't even feel vindicated by these videos anymore. It just makes me feel more miserable. You want to see a real blackpilling bit of information? I guess I can just fit this in here under the broader category of you don't hate your fellow Americans enough. Americans spent over $109 billion on lottery tickets last year, which is more than they spent on movies, books, concerts, and sports tickets combined. Just really hate people, you know? Really let it settle in.
So I wanted to come here to the heart of Trump country in Ohio to see if those who have supported...
Yeah, if you include prediction market gambling, it's probably like it's like half the economy at this point.
...him for years still do so despite the fact he's costing them money. Perhaps surprisingly, I've come to Warsaw.
636 people live here. It was named after the other Warsaw in 1834.
Yeah, it's a Polish news station, so they went to Warsaw, USA. It's cute.
In honor of the Polish November uprising against the Russian Empire just a few years prior. It's the story of the American Rust Belt. It used to have a bank, 2 restaurants, and a mill. The railway used to come all the way here as well. It's quiet, proud, friendly, and staunchly Republican. At the 2024 presidential election, nearly 75% of the voters in this county voted for Donald Trump. So has the war in Iran and rising prices changed Warsaw's mind about the president?
We just make ends meet. It's just the way the world is, you know, in my opinion. It'll eventually come down, but our president, I believe, is doing the right thing.
I supported it at first, but not now. I mean, you know, you devastate a country. What else can you do, you know? And there's a lot of people, civilians, that lose lives and stuff. And that's not right. I was in Vietnam, and I fought in that war. I didn't agree with it, but I did it, you know.
I don't think any of us like the rise in gas prices. I know right now with Iran. We also don't want a country with nuclear weapons, so it's kind of a hard thing. I like him with his policies. He's a little too cocky. Sometimes he needs to humble himself. I do like his policies and that he sticks to them.
You were really right on the money when you said these people are pro putting a gun to their head and firing, but anti the bullet hitting their skull and killing them. Yeah, no kidding. And you just can't explain to them the correlation between A and B. You can't, like, no matter how many times you sit them down and explain it, like, when you put the gun to your head and pull the trigger, that leads to the bullet hitting your skull and killing you. They just cannot put A and B together. They can't do it.
And he does what he says, but I also think he needs to not always put himself in the spotlight and himself first.
I can support a limited war in Iran. I think Iran is a big supporter of terrorism worldwide, and I think it is a bad country that does need
like,
to...
I'm just ballparking. It's got to be, at the highest, 70, right? Like, you could comfortably wear a jacket outside at the temp of this guy's IQ. And somehow, his positions are the ones running the country.
Be disarmed. I'm willing to pay the price for freedom.
Then fucking
Warsaw Mayor
enlist.
Ed Kent tells me the price at the pumps has had an impact here, but support for the president remains strong.
They have been feeling the pinch. I've heard travel plans changing, especially people maybe with camping and pulling a big rig and
Facts, the average Ohioan is like this guy. Democracy defenders don't even explain why these people should get to make decisions anymore. They just look at you like this, you know? They don't even try to, they don't, like, can you imagine pitching any society in a pre-industrial world on democracy and then pointing at one of these guys as voters? Like, the only reason Enlightenment thinkers were able to pitch democracy because they were pitching it at the time among themselves. Enlightened, educated, land-owning white men. They were like, yeah, we're all pretty reasonable. We should all get to decide, not just one king. Can you imagine being like, all right, man, here's your democracy, and you point at that fucking guy? Yep. Maybe they had a point. Only land-owning white men. The funny thing is that if we actually limited voting to the actual founding stock of the country, i.e. New England WASPs, it would be like, the country be like plus 40 Democrat. Not joking. If you limited the voter pool to the actual founding stock of the country, not the Germanics who settled in the Midwest, not the I'm going to talk like Measurehead, not the potato-eating Tachas who settled in the middle country, not the Spaniards or the Franks who settled down in the South or in the Louisiana Bay, but only the founding stock of the country, the original Anglo-Saxon Protestants in New England, it'd be like plus 40 Democrat. Not the Koiko, no.
That way on the gas, and then commercial flights and such are going up. Well, we've went through it before. We went through it here several years ago. The cost went way up and
my
eventually
haplogroup.
come down.
No, my fucking haplogroup. My haplogroup is being diluted by the Koiko and their potato-eating ways. No, democracy worked when it was the WASPs, but the haplogroups, they have all degenerated.
Down. And I think that's what people are hanging on their hopes right now, is to hope that we come out of this war and maybe things will straighten out and prices will come back down.
And
the craniometric perfection exhibited by the original settlers from the Mayflower has been polluted by the ravioli-eating Italian Catholics, the Zionist Baptist Southerners, derivative of the fat-bloated Central European, Polish, and German settlers, the swarthy people, as Ben Franklin said, the haplogroup tendencies.
That steadfast support for President Trump showed nearly 80% of the votes cast in the midterm primaries were for Republican candidates. Despite rising costs and no clear end in sight to the U.S. war in Iran.
Inexplicably burger-obsessed Yankees. Yeah. Is this supposed to be Russian? I sentence you to 7 delightful days of playing Disco Elysium. Gavel. Bang, bang. Listening to these people makes me really understand these statements. Oh, fuck, are we Robespierre posting? You know it's bad when people start Robespierre posting. We must smother the internal and external enemies of the Republic or perish with it. Now in this situation, the first maxim of your policy ought to be to lead the people to reason and the people's enemies by terror. Every Twitter lefty is brave enough to say Stalin didn't go far enough. But are you brave enough to say Robespierre didn't go far enough? That's the real question. Everyone can get all Malthusian and genocidal when you're protecting the Soviet state. Are you willing to do it to defend French liberalism? Marx, when modern leftists tell him they gave voting rights to the lumpen proles. You gave what? You did what? Nine. Oh man, it really is over though. It is over though. Why French liberalism got us here? It is worth remembering that 18th century French liberals would disagree with the state of the Republic today. We'll put it lightly. Robespierre watching Jan 6 play out, seeing them build a guillotine. Oui. Oh, it was a gallows, not a guillotine? Fuck, I remembered. It doesn't work then. Oh well. Do you think the founding fathers would be more upset about black people or Catholics having voting rights? The crazy thing is, that would actually be a debate with them. That would actually be a debate with them, yeah. Because there'd be people saying shit like, research has shown that like 70% of imported slaves are open to the teachings of Protestantism, so they can be changed, whereas the Catholics with their, with their recessive mental faculties are still bound by the papal influence and are therefore incompatible with the Republic. That's genuinely the shit they would be saying. That's not even a joke. One of their 5 intolerable acts they accused Britain of inflicting on them was letting the Quebecois practice free religion. Is that true? Because I'm down on my history. Hold on. The coercive acts of 1774, known as the Intolerable Acts in the American colonies, were a series of 4 laws passed by British Parliament to punish the colony of Massachusetts Bay for the Boston Tea Party, the Boston Port Act, the Massachusetts Government Act, the Administrative Justice Act, and the Quartering Act. The Quebec Act of 1774 is sometimes included as one of the coercive acts. Okay, hold on. We have a name. Established governments for the province of Quebec aimed at securing the loyalty of French-speaking Canadians and allowed religious freedom for the Catholics. Okay, I genuinely think the Founding Fathers would have preferred blacks having the vote over Catholics. Genuinely. God, that's funny. I like how they're spelling Canadians all French-like here. Yeah, here we go. A growing class of British merchants in Quebec, quote, viewed with alarm and disgust the leniency manifested towards the French Canadians. Me too, buddy. These merchants emerged as vocal opponents of Governor Carleton's policy of religious tolerance, instead advocating for the establishment of Protestantism as the official religion of the province. The conflict extended to the legislative sphere, where Attorney General Francis Massieres, I don't know, a representative of the British minority, expressed strong opposition to Catholic influence. He argued that the appointment of a Catholic bishop, Jean-Oliver Brand, in 1766 had reinforced loyalty among French-Canadian clergy, preventing their conversion to Protestantism, and criticized the legalization of tithes and the expansion of Quebec's territory as measures that strengthened, quote, the popish religion. Tithes.